Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. First of all, to all those who are in harm's way on this most beautiful of holidays, to away from their families, who are out there literally trying to save lives. I'm grateful for your service. I think of your efforts in heroic terms to all the plow drivers, the first responders, the police, local, state. I am in awe of what you are doing and all those who are manning or at command centers right now. I'm grateful. I'm reminded of a battle, a similar battle, it seemed, back in 1994, the Battle of Bastogne. And at the time, the 104th were surrounded by Nazis on this Christmas morning, and they were told to surrender. And they said, "We will not surrender." And they fought on to victory as part of the Battle of the Bulge. We are in a war. This is a war with Mother Nature. And she has been hitting us with everything she has since the late hours of Thursday into Friday, Saturday, and now on Christmas morning. And this will go down in history as the most devastating storm in Buffalo's long storied history of having battled many battles, many major storms. I have lived through most of them. I'm a Buffalonian. And all of us think in historic and epic terms, but this one is for the ages. And we're still in the middle of it. We still have people who need to be rescued. We have people with their power off in our communities, and buildings where pipes are bursting and flooding is occurring, as is happening in my own home right now. So this is what's happening in real time. It is a devastating experience. I cannot overstate how dangerous the conditions still are. We need people to stay off the roads. Yes, one more day. I know it's Christmas. I know how hard it is. You came off of a couple of years of being separated during the pandemic. It's heartbreaking. But to keep you safe, and to all those who have left the security of their homes to help you keep safe, we need your cooperation. Just hang in there one more day. We will persevere. We will battle this out to the bitter end, and we are not going anywhere. And I'm grateful to have partners like County Executive Mark Polencars, who has been working around the clock tirelessly for him and his team, all the work they've been doing. Mayor Byron Brown also on the front lines of this, all your members of your army in the city of Buffalo, and also our state police, our DOT workers, our thruway authority workers, our plow drivers everywhere, and those who are literally helping people be saved by bringing heat to nursing homes and senior centers. So that is what is on the ground right now. There has been a confirmed loss of life of 7 individuals. It is my extreme fear that this is going to rise. We anticipate that there are some individuals that be loss of life, whether it's freezing in homes or in vehicles that are still stranded. We have rescued hundreds and hundreds of people out of their cars, snow plows having to go, the only vehicle that could get through the blinding snowstorm and knock on windows and bring people to safety. That has been going on since the duration of this event. But there are some that are still trying to be found. In a blinding snowstorm, a vehicle goes off the road into a ditch. You cannot always find it immediately. So we're doing all we can do with GPS and other mechanisms to try and find everybody and hopefully bring them home safely. So this is happening in real time. It is not over. And we've been in contact with the White House. I just spoke again with Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Gillibrand. We've been in constant communication with both their offices. They will support our request for a federal disaster declaration to assist with the resources for part of this cleanup. But again, that's for tomorrow. Right now, we're still dealing with this colossal snowstorm. There is no other way to describe it. The winds have almost hit 80 miles an hour. That is a record. The longevity of this storm, the longest blizzard in our history. We think back, those who have been following weather for a long time, the blizzard of 77 was the one that everyone referenced, the blizzard of 77. I had a t-shirt that said, "I survived the blizzard of 77. I'll be having a t-shirt made for this year for all the survivors and the people who battled through the blizzard of 2022. So that's the caliber of what we're dealing with right now. Our National Guard, we have deployed them, but you can imagine, even when you want to bring in the reinforcements, bring in the Army, help with this battle, that they can get stuck as well. We had vehicles that were stuck in snow. They were detained, but now we'll have over 200 on the ground right now. I'm bringing another 200 in that'll be deployed. So we'll have over 400 on the ground by tomorrow, but certainly 200 on the ground right now. They are assisting with medical missions, helping doctors and nurses get to the hospitals, helping get people out of vehicles, helping reinforce the areas where people are just exhausted and have to go home. The people who've been on the front lines from the very beginning. So the cavalry has arrived. They're here to help, and we'll continue this effort through the rest of the weekend. As we mentioned, this is the longest sustained blizzard conditions in the city of Buffalo. Snow totals are not as high as we had literally 5 weeks ago when we broke records once again. Again, how many times can you break a record in Buffalo? But we did it again with the caliber of this blizzard. But even 5 weeks ago, we were dealing with record amounts of snow. We do not have the record amounts of snow. On average, is about 30 inches. But when that 30 inches blows and blows and blows nonstop, then you get drifts. You cannot see around the drifts. That's why driving is still dangerous. People need to stay home until this has abated. So the snow has stopped right now. Power has still out in many areas. We have over 39,000 households out without power across the state. 27,000 of those are in Erie County. We are coming at them. And here's the challenge. The crews are here. We saw this storm coming. We had over 7,000 people, far more than we've ever had before, all ready to restore power so we can get heat back in people's homes. What has happened though? We've cleared paths to get to substations, and that was a Herculean effort to get people to the substations in the first place. And you arrive and you realize there's structural damage. It's not just turning on a switch or putting up one wire. And with the high winds, you can't get the lift trucks up there to restore the higher lines. So that has been the complication with utilities. So it's not a resource challenge. It is a storm challenge where they have kept our men and women from doing their jobs, which is enormously frustrating. First of all, for them, for the people who are waiting for heat, and certainly for us, but that is something we're continuing to break through. Our state police launched a strike team last night. As soon as there was a break in the weather, starting at midnight, we are all ready to go into high impact areas, the ones that needed the most help, where the stranded vehicles were, some of the nursing homes and senior facilities that were without power. And I want to thank Superintendent Steve Nigrelli and everyone who's part of the state police force for all they did to just literally go into harm's way to try and clear the snow, restore some heat, and hopefully restore some sanity to what is otherwise a very, very frightening circumstance. Again, I was a mother growing up in Buffalo with little children. I know how frightening it is when you're home alone with just the kids. The power is out, it's cold, the food is not there. So we are working also to bring emergency provisions to people. We have warming centers stood up. We want to transport people there so they can get food and a warm meal for their kids if they're still stuck without power. Power sometimes is off, restored. Now it's off again, and that's what's happening even in my own building. So we're living through this in real time. There are still more challenges out there, but I want to just turn it over to one more check we're doing is our Commissioner of Civil Service, Tim Hogues, who is an Erie County resident. So he came back to help manage this storm. He is making sure that all the social service organizations are stepping up and providing all the assistance they need, coordinating with the Red Cross, our agencies that are involved on the ground as well. So we're going to keep standing up those warming centers with the county. The county, again, once doing a phenomenal job. I commend County Executive Poland Cars, as well as Mayor Byron Brown, because we're still in this together. My next report will be with the county executive in Buffalo, and we'll be managing the rest of the storm from there. And I have my team who's been on this 24 hours a day since this started Thursday night, and I want to thank them. Let's turn it over to Commissioner Jackie Bray for an update of what's happening on the ground.
Thank you, ma'am. So I want to do two things. The first is I want to reiterate some safety messaging. As the governor said, the conditions in the Buffalo area remain treacherous and remain dangerous. It is bitterly cold, and while the winds have died down at this point, it is still far too cold to be outside. So the most important thing is to stay inside. If you are without power, it is safer inside than outside. You want to wear loose fitting clothing, lots of layers. You want to cover every part of you, including your cheeks and your nose and your mouth. You want to stay, if you've multiple people in your household, stay in one room but huddle together to maintain warmth. We know that people are too cold. We know that it's dangerous. We are doing everything we can to get power restored. to the about 15–16% of city residents without power at this time. If you are in a vehicle, stay in your vehicle. If you can, put some bright colored fabric on the outside of the vehicle so that you are more noticeable to our search and rescue crews, do that. If you still have fuel, run your car about 10 minutes every hour to stay warm. In addition to the information the governor shared, the state has been deploying food, water, cots, and blankets across both Erie and Genesee County over the last 24 hours to assist with warming shelters. That's included over 2,200 MREs and a similar amount of drinking water. Commissioner Dominguez is going to talk about road conditions and the Department of Transportation and Thruway assets. But in addition to the state police, we have the Department of Environmental Conservation, the Parks Department, and State Fire, who are also, and the Department of Corrections, who have been deploying search and rescue teams for the last about 30 hours. As the governor said, they have made, at this point, over 500 saves and moved hundreds more into warming shelters. So that work will continue through the day, along with our attempts to get National Grid and NYSEG access to their substations so that power can be restored. My final point, in some towns, it's going to look like you can go outside today and start digging yourself out. We know that that can cause cardiac arrests, and first response is still very slow. So we are asking folks to be very careful as you start digging your own homes out, to take it slow, take lots of rest, stay hydrated, to avoid any cardiac issues in shoveling or snowballing. With that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Marie-Therese Dominguez. Commissioner?
Commissioner, your line is open. Please unmute. While we wait for Commissioner Dominguez.
Good morning.
Oh, excuse me. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Apologies for the technical difficulties here. Commissioner Bray, Governor, thank you very much. This storm has not been easy. In fact, it's been extremely challenging in terms of the operating environment, with whiteout conditions and no visibility lasting for hours. The last few days, our plow drivers are what I consider the best of the best, but there have been times over the last few days that with gusting winds that were so strong and visibility concerns, we literally, along with our colleagues in the county and the city, have had life safety concerns for our plow drivers. That said, we've all seen and heard of examples of literally hundreds of vehicles that have been stranded across Western New York. But we've been working around the clock to make sure that all of those people are not only checked on, but as the governor noted, are brought to safety. And we've made huge progress along those lines with our partners at State Police, Thruway, and others. Last month, Governor, we spent days together in Buffalo through the course of this generational storm, and on Christmas morning now in 2022, the Buffalo area in particular is seeing a second generational storm. In terms of operations, DOT is working 24/7 around the clock, and we're making progress. We've deployed extra resources, as you noted, in advance of the storm, and we've deployed even more resources over the course of the last 48 hours. So the first wave, we brought in an additional 65 additional staff, 10 additional plow trucks and snow blowers and graders all into Western New York. Now we've also deployed additional resources, including plows and trucks and everything up into the North Country as well. They've also seen record amounts of snow. In this second wave of deployments, we've also brought in additional mechanics, as well as additional loaders and bulldozers from our emergency contractors who are assisting us both with the search and rescue missions, which you mentioned, Governor, that we're partnering with the state police on. Those missions are going well. We're tag teaming with state police to utilize not only plow trucks, but also any kind of high lifts to make sure that we're able to get not only critical equipment, but also get to people that are maybe stranded in their cars. We've also dispatched, just in terms of equipment, we've also seen some hard hit areas of the Finger Lakes. So we've got plow operators and snow blowers also working in a strike force manner to make sure that we're getting to any motorists that may have been stranded, but also clearing the roads. The bottom line is that we've been working 24/7 around the clock. The conditions have been dangerous, but we're at it. All of our forces are out in force. Overnight, we were, again, able to assist the state police along with the Thruway Authority and others, making sure that National Grid and others could get to their substations and help restore the power. With that, I want to keep in mind that we do have road closures in the area. Those include routes 5, 400, 219, 290, and the 190. So the Buffalo Skyway, of course, is closed. We're going to keep all of these road closures in place to make sure that we have plenty of time to make sure the roads are clear and passable. We're going to continue to work with the city police to clear Route 33 of the vehicles so that we can start to get in there and plow and force. But I want to thank, first and foremost, all of our partners across the city, the county, all of our partners in the state. But a special thank you to all the men and women at the New York State DOT who are working 24/7 through the Christmas holiday. The bottom line is we all recognize this is a life safety concern, and everybody's doing their darndest around the clock to make sure that we address all of the elements of this storm. We're going to keep fighting for the good fight here. And with that, Governor, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't know if Superintendent Nigrelli is able to get to us. I know he's out in the heat of battle right now, but if he, Superintendent Nigrelli.
Superintendent, if you could unmute yourself, your line is open.
Governor, this is Steve Nigrelli. I'm on, and thank you for the opportunity. Just to review the last, 36 to 48 hours or even more, that the response you're seeing is due to planning and preparation. The assets that we brought into, and not just the state police, but all our state partners into Western New York in advance of the storm was critically important. We had the resources here with our partners from National Guard, state government. We were prepared and staged. Unfortunately, Mother Nature made it so prohibitive for us to get out there. The visibility became a life safety issue for not only the motorists and the residents, but also your first responders. But with that, last night, we planned a strategic mission utilizing a strike force mentality comprised of our DOT thruway partners, our DPW county partners, to actually plow pathways for us in law enforcement with our partners from the utilities. We prioritized two missions, Governor. One was to get to the utility facilities to try to get power back on. The second was to start clearing these roads so we can check on disabled vehicles. This mission is ongoing. We've had some successes in the utility aspect of this. We'll continue on working with, this is all hands on deck from the city government, from Buffalo PD, Buffalo Fire, and DPW, through the county, and every state agency, along with our partners from the National Guard. We have one mission, and that's one mission only, and that's life safety. And it may say December 25th on your calendar, but that does not matter to us. We are here, committed to serving and protecting the public as best we can. And again, it's been challenging. I'm a Buffalo resident. I've lived here all my life. I lived through the '77 blizzard, and this has been epic proportions. And hopefully we are seeing an end in the near future. The one safety precaution I will give my fellow Buffalo residents is we may see some clear skies right now, but that does not mean you should go out of your house. I know it's important to see your families on this holiday, but it is treacherous, and the last thing we want to do is have you get stuck as well and harm come to you or to the first responders coming to save you. It may look clear out there, but trust me on this. Stay in your home. Stay where it's safe. Do not go on the road. Let us do our jobs to help you. Thank you very much, Governor. And thank you for all our partners, especially our partners here in Western New York, the state police, the sheriffs, Buffalo police, all our partners in state government. It's one team, one mission.
Thank you,
Thank you, Superintendent Nigrelli. And those are great reminders that as much as you want to think they are not, our first responders, our law enforcement teams are not invincible to the weather. They also sometimes succumb, and we've had police vehicles in the city, fire trucks, literally stuck in snow, ambulances stuck where you cannot liberate them in order to respond to emergency calls. And so to all the members that we're speaking of who are on the front lines of this battle, I'm grateful that you're willing to put yourself out there, because you don't always make it to where you need to go. You can get stuck, you can get stranded as well. We've had to have some rescues of our own teams as they tried so hard to bring in all the reinforcements from some outside the area. So that is delayed where we'd rather be right now, but we do see an end in sight. As painful as this has been, I'm so in awe of how Western New Yorkers really came together, followed the directions, stayed off the roads as best they could, are hunkering down at great sacrifice themselves. And so I know many of them were distracted with a football game yesterday, which was good, but if you didn't have power, you'll definitely want to see the replays. But with that, I think we're ready to open up to any questions.